DevOps, it is not a single tool. We'll go in detail, right? It's not a single tool. Basically, DevOps is a philosophy, okay, where it insists on people like both development, operations, testing team, management team should collaborate and work as an individual team and try to deliver a quality product faster to the market. So I would say this is the correct understanding of DevOps. Is like, yes, DevOps is not a single tool, and this is a methodology. Using that methodology, I am going to ensure that I'm delivering a quality product faster to the market. So this is the basic definition of DevOps. So next is, let me talk about why DevOps is needed from every stakeholder perspective. Okay, so from the developer perspective, they want a friction-free application deployment, right? So normally what will happen when you are being a developer, when you have completed a development, okay, you will push the binary code. You either build it and then push the code, and you will raise a ticket with the operations team, and they will come and deploy the application. And during the deployment, you want some other additional tools needs to be installed. Let's say I'm using a framework, and that framework I want to be installed on the server. I need to open up a ticket, and it has to go to the approval process, and it will take its time. And like the operations team, their priority will be production. If there is any production issue, like you have to sit idle until they deploy it, then only you can inform the tester to do that. Okay, so they want a friction-free build and deployment. Okay, when I want to build application, it should I should not wait for any ticketing or anything. So almost no ops is the need from the developer. And next is the choice of choosing the multiple platforms. Like when I talk about imagine you are working on a Java code, and there is a framework which you want to use it within that. Okay, so you should be easily able to use that framework and then install it and use it. You don't want the development team to wait for that and all those things. Okay. And next is, as people are moving into the microservices, you want to use the microservices and do things. And then next is they wanted to have a better understanding of the infrastructure. Like let's say I'm using Windows 2022. Okay. And I need to understand what is the servers in all the areas, so that I will ensure that my code will run on this particular operating system, and what are all the additional application installed on those operating system. So those things I will be easy for me to understand and get that. Okay, so this is the need from the developer. Basically, they don't want to ticket. Okay, so the thing is they want to code more, and they don't want to work on the tickets. So this is the requirement from the developers. Okay. Next, from the leadership team, what is the expectation from the DevOps is so they want agility, which we already seen, they want to deliver as much as fast as possible. And then next is they want to reuse their components. Like imagine one team has worked on a component. I don't want the another team working on the same component. Okay. So they should have their own way of identifying, okay, whether this component is already available, and then reuse the component so that I will reduce the development time and effort. And next is no vendor lock-in. So when I design an application, imagine I'm designing it to purely work with AWS infrastructure. Okay, so there are two risks for me when I go with a particular vendor lock-in. Like first is, imagine if AWS went down due to some issues, my application is also get impacted. Okay, this really happened in 2008. Okay, almost I think in the 2010 or something, the complete AWS infrastructure went down, and lots of businesses were impacted because of that. And that's where people started to realize, no, I should not do any vendor lock-in. Even if when vendor goes down, I want it to be running from the another vendor. So that is where the vendor lock-in is very, very critical piece for the business. And next is, imagine AWS is becoming a monopoly and say that, okay, for me, the servers will cost you 10 rupees. And at the same time, if Azure is selling the same server for 1 rupee, I should be able to migrate it because I will be getting a cheaper cost from Azure. Why I should stick with the AWS? So that is where leadership doesn't want any vendorship lock-in. Okay, this is the requirement from the leadership on from the DevOps. And next is the requirement from the operations team is like they don't want to do any mundane task. Like mundane task is like you ask for a build. Okay, it is normally a general set of steps. Like they will build it with any build automation tool, and after that they will create a binary, and the binary will be copied to the server. And from there, you just restart the service after deploying. So these are kind of mundane tasks. They don't want to do any repetitive task. So they want to automate as much as possible. Okay. And next is the planned downtime. Every operation guys hate the planned downtime because this will be happening in the non-business hours and they need to extend and work on it. Okay. And doing things. And at the same time, they want to scale their application. The application should be uh, scale automatically. So there is a concept called auto scaling. Okay. Why scaling is important? I will give you a real-time example. So I think before Amazon comes in, Flipkart was the first guy to bring in the big billion day sale. I think so. So at that time, like their application, they were not able to scale up based on the requirement, right? So there are lots of people all over the India trying to come and order things there, and the complete Flipkart platform has went down. Because of that, there is a huge reputation loss for the Flipkart. Imagine if Flipkart might have been implemented the scaling strategy, okay, they wouldn't have affected by the uh, like reputation loss. They will not be affected by the reputation loss which happened on those days. Okay, they would be able to do it. So it's basically when I talk about scaling, there are two kinds of scaling available. One is called as a vertical scaling and another one is the horizontal scaling. When I talk about vertical scaling, it is like increasing the capacity of the server. So basically my server is struggling to react to the request which is coming to that server. Then on the vertical scaling, normally it needs a downtime and there is a limitation for it. Like on a server, you can put only maximum this much of core, this much of memory. Okay. And when I want to increase the CPU and RAM of a machine, even it's in the physical scenario or if it is in the virtual scenario, I need to bring down the server and I need to, then only I can increase the CPU and RAM of it. But horizontal scaling is a concept where you will have a replica of the servers available, and then the request will be distributed to the multiple servers using the load balancers. So this concept is called as the horizontal scaling. So instead of hosting the application on single server, you will host it on the same application on 10 different servers, and the request coming to the application will be distributed using a load balancer. Here, there is no limitation and there is no downtime needed. And based on the request, you can automatically scale up the application. And once the request goes down, like let's say at 9 o'clock, the offer is over and the number of requests may reduce and automatically it can scale down the application. So this is called the scaling of applications, data services and all those things. So operations teams wanted this process to be automated so that they don't need to keep monitoring the server performance, and based on that they can increase or decrease the number of servers. And next is the high environment consistency and then reliability. That means my infrastructure or the application should be very reliable. Like it should not be like a ticking bomb. I don't have a clue when the application is going down and I need to jump on it and I need to fix the issue. Okay. So this is what another requirement, like the environment should be consistent, and then they want a very good monitoring system in place so that they can understand if any issues on the server, they can immediately go and check that. And next is governed and secured operations. That means like most of the operations teams has to go in for an audit. So let it be their SOX audit or let it be their industry specific audit. There, the first question asked with the operation teams will be like, uh, who is changing your system and do we have a visibility to that, and is the changes are authorized to perform. So they want the complete deployment to be in a governed and secured manner so that only the respective deployment is happening and it is being tracked somewhere so that they can go back and see if there is any issue happened on the application. Okay, so this is the requirement from the various teams. Okay, from the developer perspective, they want to code more, they don't want to work on the tickets. And from the leadership perspective, they want to bring in agility into their application. And in the operations, they want is like a IT as a service provider. That means they want to automate as much as possible. In the meantime, they want it to be like governed and secured. So these are all the requirement from various stakeholders. Requirement for DevOps from the various stakeholders. Okay. So next thing is the when you need a DevOps. Okay, these are some kind of comic cartoon. Okay, so let me just walk you through one by one. So you see on the first one, yeah, customer is coming and complaining, your software has melted my computer. Okay, and the typical response from the help desk is like try unplugging it, wait for a few minutes, and then you plug it back again and try to see whether it is working fine. So here the actual problem is you are not able to identify your major bugs. Okay, and your customer is identifying your major bugs. That is a very big problem and it is a very huge reputation loss for you. Okay, a typical example will be imagine in the e-commerce platform, you are trying to order something in Amazon. Okay, and you are keep on getting that. Okay, when you try to add a product to the cart and it is keep on disappearing from the cart, will you continue with Amazon? Obviously no, right? So you will go to the other vendor who is selling the same product and you will buy it from them. So like when your customers are identifying your bugs and you are not able to catch them before going into production, then surely you need a DevOps on that. And next is the chicken and egg problem, right? So the tester is sitting idle when the developer is developing the work, okay? And when the tester is testing the application, developer is idle. So it's a regular chicken and egg problem where you see that, okay, one person cannot start until the other person completes. So um, that is if you have this scenario, then you really need DevOps. So which is going to solve this problem using the automation things. And next is the uh, like a person with a square box goes to a counter, but there is only a circular option available. So this is very, very typical in the development and the operation scenario. Like as a development team, you have a specific requirement, but operations teams will say that, okay, so here is the checklist. Please fill in the checklist and send it to us and we will deploy it. And some of the time, the checklist will not cover the scenario what you are looking for. So it's basically when you have a team which basically doesn't talk to each other and it is causing a blockage in the deployment, then you need a DevOps. So that will help you to avoid this situation. Okay. And next is no matter like, so see like they are doing a yoga and then they are doing a coding and trying to see like how whether it is speeding up the application delivery. So that is what this slide is all about, where they are saying, okay, no matter how agile you become, it is taking a longer time for you to deliver a product to the market. Okay, so this is another scenario. And last but not least is like any problem leads to finger pointing. You might have seen this in your real-time scenario most of the time. Like you can see the code is working fine on your machine, okay, and it is working not working on the server, okay. There will be lots of calls to happen, say that, okay, the operations teams will say that, okay, the server is fine. It's a issue in the code and it is not working on the server. And you know that like the application is working fine on your development machine and it is reacting as it is supposed to. Okay, it's an issue with the server. So this finger pointing can cause issues. Okay, so that is where if you have any of these 5 scenarios, like surely you need DevOps which can solve all these 5 problems, right? So let it be like automated testing integration, and then making things automate, and people can do their works parallelly, and then you can deliver a product faster to the market, and you bring in collaboration within the team is talking to each other, and then you will not face the finger pointing, because as the team is working together and they have tested fine in the lower environment, as in the other environment it will be working. So this is where if you have any of these problems, DevOps can come and solve these problems for you in your current application infrastructure.